ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهدي الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو الحي الذي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة ونصح للأمة وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. فصلوات ربي عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم اجعلنا منهم واجعلنا معهم يا أرحم الراحمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who believe, be conscious of your Lord like He deserves for you to be conscious of Him, and die not except upon a state of Islam, a state of submission. Dear brothers and sisters, as we talked last week about the blessing of health and what is required of us in light of that blessing, today we shall inshallah talk about the time in which that blessing escapes, or that blessing is withheld from you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the reason why we must talk about the blessing before the test is so we can acknowledge and appreciate the value and the worth of that blessing. Because oftentimes we talk about how tested we are and how much struggles we're going through, but we forget to recognize the amount of blessings that we were living in, and we assume as this has been our reality our whole life. So for example, someone gets sick, we recognize it's a test and it is something that is hard to bear, but we forget throughout that state of health that we were in such a state of blessing that no one else realizes except he who had lost that blessing. So we start off by remembering the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in which he says, نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس الصحة والفراغ. Two blessings in which most people, many people, are heedless of, or don't recognize, or don't appreciate. And those are health and free time. And as the Prophet ﷺ also says, من أصبح منكم آمنا في سربه معافا في جسده عنده قوت يومه فكأنما حازت له الدنيا بأسرها. أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. He of you, those of you who awaken in safety in their homes, in their shelter, they have the supply and the nutrients and the sustenance enough for their day, for that day. And they are healthy in their body, fi jasad. They're healthy in their wellness. They have good health. It is as if that individual had attained all that which is in this dunya. The most precious of this dunya, he or she has attained these blessings. And so you recognize and you look around the world, according to Yale University Global Health Research, 20% of the world lives in inadequate housing. Maybe they're living in shacks. Maybe they're living in houses made of tents or cartons even, or very thin material that is not safe for their living. And 2% are homeless altogether, 2% of the world, according to their research. According to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, 60% of Americans are diagnosed with at least one chronic disease. And that's a disease that has taken a toll on the body for more than a year. It could be cancer, it could be diabetes, could be hypertension, and it's a disease that is remaining in the body for a long period of time, which needs follow-up treatments. And this is a large amount of people, 60% of the country. So out of every 10 people, that's 6 people who have this chronic disease. And the point here is that we all are heedless of this. And oftentimes what happens is that we look at those who have more than us, or have done more than us, and we fail to recognize how much we've been blessed with compared to others who have much less than us, or have been tested with much worse than us. So oftentimes we will say, so-and-so got to travel, and so-and-so got to do this and this. But we never say so-and-so is in the hospital, so-and-so is in jail, so-and-so has a condition that he or she cannot leave the house. They're bedridden. These are all blessings in which they involve our health. And we take it for granted up until we meet that predicament that challenges us and tests us in our own body, in our own health. And some of us may go their whole life and not recognize that blessing until they reach old age. And their age at the end of their life may be too late for them to recognize what a great blessing they were in. And as the Prophet ﷺ tells us, all of these are blessings that you will be asked for. Not a single foot on the day of judgment will go forward except he or she will be asked about their time and what they invested it in, about their health and what they put it in, what you use your health towards, in your time and your youth in which you are strong and you have the ability to carry out activities and go about things that many other people can't, and how you use that youth, and many other things. And so it calls on us, it calls on all of us, especially those of us who still have their good health, to appreciate that health. And then the minute that health starts to deteriorate and starts to plummet, and you go to the doctor and you notice something that came out of nowhere that you would have never thought, the first thing is you recall is that you were in a blessing, that you fell short in giving Allah thanks, in giving Allah His due praise. And that it is not because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala simply is not pleased with you. So oftentimes we think those who are sick or who have been tested with some disease or some sickness is the result of their sins. We often think this is because of what they did. This is not for any one of us to make that call, to say this so-and-so got this disease, or so-and-so fell to this predicament because of what they did in the past. That's not our call. But we say that is a test from Allah to purify us of these sins. Oftentimes we think, oh, these disbelievers, or these people who are not even righteous, they have it all. They have wealth, they have health, and we think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not love us because of what we've been tested with, especially with our health. And we think, why do so many people have to be healthy and I have to be so sick and so bedridden that I cannot even function? But the first thing to this is that we remember that all of these are tests from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify us of our sins. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, verily the believer in his patience or her patience, they shall attain a rank in their patience upon these tough situations, these tough challenges. They shall attain a rank that raises a rank in which salah and fasting, in which prayer and fasting will not hire their rank. So these situations in which we face, in which we face severe challenges, in which we are challenged and we reflect on how healthy we used to be, and we are surprised upon the state we are in, it calls on us to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not doing this because He hates you or because He is not pleased with you, but that because He wants you to call out to Him, because we all know, you and me know that we are much closer to Allah when there's a test. Our khushu' and salah is much stronger when we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for relief. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to hear that from you. He wants us to seek Him. Inna Allah yaqdam in lam yad'ahu abda. Verily Allah gets mad and is angry when His servant does not call unto Him, when His servant does not pray unto Him, does not supplicate and ask Him. And that's simply because Allah is close. Allah is near you. Allah is near you and He wants to help you. He wants that intimate conversation between you and Him. In the same way that me and you, when we are faced with challenges, we go to our friends and we say, this and this happened, and all this has stricken me, and I cannot find a way out, and I'm stuck, and I'm challenged. We can talk to our friends, our family, about everything that we're going through, about all the bills, about all the stressful situations that we are in. But the minute we fall into sujood, we have nothing to say, and we get right back up. And in that situation is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to hear you cry to Him and beg Him for relief. In that sickness that you've been in, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to hear from you. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِنَّ الْأَنْبِيَاءَ أَشَدَّ الْإِبْتِلَاءِ. Verily the prophets, they are the most who are tested and they are given challenges. So when you think about it, when we say, so-and-so has been living in wealth, so-and-so is a disbeliever that does not even believe in Allah, and yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them, and Allah is providing for them? Yes. As the Prophet ﷺ says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْطِي الدُّنْيَا لِمَنْ يُحِبُّ وَلِمَنْ لَا يُحِبُّ. Really, Allah gives this dunya to everyone that He loves and everyone that He does not love. So this test in which we measure Allah's love simply because of what we have and what we don't have is not a principle or a test strip that we base Allah's pleasure with us. In Islam, we are taught that these challenges are not because of Allah's displeasure with us. It's not because Allah hates us. It's not because Allah wants to put us through misery. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا يَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابِكُمْ. What does Allah want with persecuting you, with torturing you? إِن شَكَرْتُمْ وَآمَنْتُمْ. As long as you were believers and you were grateful. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants nothing of this. What is He going to attain by putting you through a hard test, putting you through that sickness, except for you to grow as an individual? أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والعاقبة للمتقين. Dear brothers and sisters, so as these challenges call on us to grow closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we must realize how close Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes Himself to us, that He makes Himself near, that of His names and attributes is Al-Qareeb, the close one. And so you realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is especially close to you when you are in a tough situation, especially some form of sickness, some form of challenge in which you have lost some blessing and now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took it away from you and He replaced it with a situation that's testing you in a different way. Although the blessing was a test, this challenges the test as well. But that you realize that you lived for a long time in which you were heedless of that blessing, in which you did not give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala due thanks and due praise for that blessing. And so we remember, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ, I am close. So call on to me, ask me, I'm close. And another hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which we often use this hadith to mention that we should visit the sick. But there's a very beautiful element to this hadith that we often neglect. And that is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا ابْنَ آدَمَ مَرَضَ عَبْدِي وَلَمْ تَعِدْهُ مَرِضْتُ وَلَمْ تَعُدُنِي. Oh son of Adam, I was sick. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I was sick, and you did not visit me. On the day of judgment, he asked the son of Adam. And Allah subhanahu the slave of Allah, he answered, Oh Allah, كيف أعدك وأنت رب العالمين? How can I visit you? And you are the Lord of the world. Oh Allah, you cannot get sick. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies to the servant, مرض عبدي ولم تعده ولو أن كنت أعدته لوجدتني عنده. Or كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, my servant has fell sick, and you did not visit him or her. And if you had visited them, you would have found me near to them. And so yes, this hadith calls on us to visit the sick, and calls on us to be noticeable of our friends and our family who fall sick, that we should go and watch out for them and visit them. But also a very hidden element of this hadith is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as much as we say, if God exists, where is He to help all these poor people? If God exists, why doesn't He come to the aid of this sickened person, of this person who's been sick in bed with a disease for years? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in this hadith, I am the nearest of people to this person. And if you want me, if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, visit the sick person. These people who we often think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is farthest away from them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am right there with them. And in another ayah in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ma'a, in many verses, in few verses. And of those verses is that He says, Inna Allah ma'a sabirin. Verily Allah is with the patient. We often think, these people are patient upon things that are unbearable. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, of all people, He is ma'a as-sabirin. He is with those whom are patient. And so, dear brothers and sisters, as we are patient, we must remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us, despite what it may seem like, and despite what those who don't believe in Allah may say, and despite what challenges push us to think, that we must remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is near. And there have been people before us who were tested in their health much worse than us. Ayyub alayhi salam, as the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ الْأَنْبِيَاءَ أَشَدَّ الْإِبْتِلَاءِ. And Ayyub alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَيُّوبَ إِذْ مَسَّهُ الضُّرُّ. And Ayyub, when he was afflicted with some pain, and he said, رَبِّ إِنِّي مَسَّنِيَ الضُّرُّ وَأَنْتَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. He finally calls out, Oh Allah, pain, affliction has touched me. He doesn't even say I have been, as much pain as he's been living in, he was patient. And how do we know? All he says, Oh Allah, it has touched me. مَسَّنِيَ الضُّرُّ. Although we know that he lived in a very tough situation, so much so that his wife would have to go out and work for her family. So much so that no one wanted to hire the Prophet's wife, because they thought that the disease was contagious and it was going to spread to their homes. And they would not employ his wife. And when he realizes that his wife is finally not even able to attain employment to support the family, he calls out to Allah, and he calls out, رَبِّ إِنِّي مَسَّنِيَ الضُّرُّ وَأَنْتَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. Most of us would have a different dua for this. But he said, despite everything that he is dealing with, إِنِّي مَسَّنِيَ الضُّرُّ وَأَنْتَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he says, وَإِذَا مَرِضْتَ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. And when I am sick, He is the one that gives me wellness. That He is the one that purifies me and cures me. He attributes the sickness to Him. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ and now وَإِذَا أَمْرَضَنِي. He says, and when I fall sick, and He does not say when Allah causes me to fall sick out of respect for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Although Allah is the one who disposes all these affairs. Although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that said about Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun, وَبَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. This task that you face from Fir'aun, وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. And we saved you from the people of Fir'aun. Although He saved them, but He was the one that caused the pain and the challenge for them. يستحي نساءكم وفي ذلك بلاء من ربكم عظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about Fir'aun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Fir'aun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought the test to Musa. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also the one who saved Musa. As Musa alayhi salam, he said, كَلَّا إِنَّ مَعِي رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينَ. Verily Allah is with me. When His people turn away and they think they have no way out, He says, verily Allah is with me. That He will aid me in my affair. That He will be with me. That you never lose recognition of this idea of ma'iyyatullah. That Allah's presence is with you wherever you are. That He is with you, that He sees you, and He knows of your affair. All He says is, call unto me and I shall answer. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, اسأل الله العافية فإنه لم يؤت أحد خير من اليقين بعد العافية. Ask Allah good health. Ask Allah good health. For really no one was given anything better than certainty in Allah except wellness. Except wellness. This idea of good health. And the Prophet ﷺ would say often, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa al-afiyah. Oh Allah, I ask you forgiveness and wellness في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أسألك العفو والعافية في ديني ودنياي وأهلي ومالي. اللهم استر عوراتي. Oh Allah, I ask you for forgiveness, and I ask you for wellness in my deen, in my religion, that it is sound and well in my life, in my family. وأسألك العفو والعافية في ديني ودنياي وأهلي, and my family, ومالي, and my wealth. اللهم استر عوراتي. Oh Allah, protect my faults, protect my unhidden faults. وآمن روعاتي, and secure my good, secure it, make it safe and make it state. Allahumma احفظني من بين يدي. Oh Allah, protect me from between my hands, ومن خلفي, and from behind me, and from ومن أمامي ومن فوقي ومن تحتي. وأعوذ بعظمتك أن أقتال من تحتي. This is a dua that the Prophet ﷺ would say every morning, asking Allah to protect him from behind him and from in front of him, to protect him from the top and from the bottom, to protect him as a whole. And this is something that is being constantly re-looked at by modern medicine and modern health, is that health is this holistic thing in which the health is the mind, the body, and the spirit. Something that the Prophet ﷺ recognized years ago, that this health of yours is not just about the body, but everything that influences it. Your mental health, your spiritual health, and your emotional health. All these are things that the Prophet ﷺ taught us to pray for, and it is a very special blessing that we constantly recognize as a blessing and appreciate it, and do not lose sight of it. And most importantly, do not replace it with that which takes away that blessing, with that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you something, gives you a blessing, and you've forsaken it by using harmful means to replace that blessing. And as we mentioned last Friday, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask all of us about that blessing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take us into account of something that He gave us and we threw away simply because we wanted to spend that free time in something that He's not displeased with, that He's not pleased with, to spend our health in that which He is not pleased with. As you see right now in the media, e-cigs are becoming forbidden if they are flavored. They are becoming banned if they are flavored. And so now most people will say, okay, I'm putting them away, and it is out of fear for the law. And so we ask ourselves, would we put away these e-cigs before they became banned by the governor of Michigan? Would we put them away when we say it is anything that which harms our health and harms our wellness has already been looked down upon by our Prophet ﷺ, and not necessarily to strictly say it is haram, but to say that we must reflect on this and what it is doing to our health and our family. And that would we just put it away the minute we are told by the government to put it away? Or is it that we put it away because we have a moral compass that's dictated by Allah and His Messenger? اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولكل من له حق علينا اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم كن لإخواننا المستضعفين المظلومين في كل مكان اللهم كن لإخواننا المستضعفين المظلومين في كل مكان اللهم عافنا واعف عنا وعلى طاعتك عنا اللهم عافنا اللهم عافنا اللهم عافنا واعف عنا اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقيموا الصلاة